Derby Day. Despite Slavia's recent lack of success, the title will invariably be fought out between these two teams. This fixture is always the one to look out for.
Basically, the football season gears up for when the derby will kick off. And for an entire week or fortnight beforehand, it's talked about in the papers. The players get really worked up about it, and there's a great atmosphere.
The atmosphere at Sparta is slightly different. Recognised as the stronger club, Sparta are generally playing for both local pride and serious honours. With a greater fan base too, the pressure to defeat their local rivals is more intense. Striker Pavel Hulva has experienced life at both clubs.
You can feel the tension the whole week in the run-up to the game on both sides. Everyone gets worked up to the point that they hate each other. But I think that hatred, or let's say the desire to beat the opponent, is much greater at Sparta than at Slavia.
Both clubs fell away in the 60s and 70s as Dukla enjoyed sustained success. But in the 1980s, Dukla's dominance was on the wane, along with the regime that backed them. Sparta and Slavia went from strength to strength, helped by the fact that at the time, players were still not permitted to move abroad.
Sparta-Slavia matches produced quality football, as in those days Czech footballers couldn't play for foreign clubs. Both teams were literally chock full of national team players in the 80s.
The domestic league therefore boasted an array of star players, and standards have never been as high since. And from the early 1980s, Sparta began a period of unequalled dominance. Horst Siegel saw it all firsthand.
I spent 13 years here and won 11 titles in that time, so I became a real Sparta man. My heart certainly belongs here.
3 spells as a player at Sparta helped Siegel become the league's most prolific goalscorer. Now assistant coach, he recognises how Sparta have shaped Czech football over the past 20 years.
During those 13 years I was here at Sparta, or at least when I was starting out at the beginning of my career. Sparta had so many world-class players who later went on to play abroad. Players such as Pavel Nedvěd, Tomáš Rosický and Petr Cech.
Many of the Czech Republic's most successful players enjoyed spells at Sparta. Petr Cech, Tomáš Rosický, and 2003 European Player of the Year Pavel Nedvěd. His performances with the Czech Republic at Euro '96 saw him leave Sparta for Italy's Serie A and helped to put Czech football on the map.
I guess without those guys playing alongside me, I wouldn't have scored the goals that I did. So I'd like to thank them for that.
Karel Poborský is the Czech Republic's most experienced player and has appeared for both Slavia and Sparta Prague. What are his fondest derby memories?
It's hard to say. I've played in so many derbies. I didn't win a single one with Slavia. I played in a few draws, but I only ever won the derby with Sparta. And so naturally, I prefer to remember those games. My best memories are the derbies I played with Sparta.
Slavia did still enjoy some success in the 90s, limited though to the occasional derby game. But it was Sparta who racked up the title wins, a staggering 13 triumphs between 1987 and 2001. Slavia would have to content themselves with just one solitary league win in 1996.
From 1947, Slavia didn't do as well. It was 49 years until they won the title in 1996. They had excellent players, national team players like Suchoparic, Poborský, Smica, Novotny. It was a great team, which was clearly of a European standard, given that they got as far as the semi-finals of the UEFA Cup.
That staggering drought was ended on May the 17th with a 3-2 win against Liberec.
Poborský 3-0.
With a team full of young talent, Slavia had enjoyed their greatest day of the past half-century. It turned out, though, to be a false dawn. No title since. And Slavia celebrations were limited to winning the big derby match. One in particular stands out, almost a decade on.
That was an incredible derby. We didn't expect that at all, but the boys played incredibly well. It was wonderful.
Kysel, nádherná přihrávka, Matušovič. Sparta vede 1-0.
We were losing 1-0 and then we went and missed a penalty.
Proto Petroš, který zastavil první střelu. A pozor!
Penalta. Je to tak. To podseknutí.
Rajčík vysílá do uličky. Další veliká podseknutí. 1-1.
Šťastným střelcem Dušan Švento.
The match hadn't been going well, but we managed to turn it around, and it ended up being one of the best derbies as far as Slavia are concerned.
Se píše, že Slavia vyhraje 2-1 a góly dají Latka se Šventem, za Spartu bude skórovat Matušovič. V 61. nebo 62.
Jestli Slavia bude pokračovat v náporu tím, že bude chtít do soupeře dorazit. Gól!
Slavia 3-1. Stanislav Vlček. Teď dva Spartané stíhali pouze hrdličku a Krajčík je pokutovou území. Je to gól! Je to gól! Slavia vede 4-1.
We won a year ago. It was 4-1 if I remember correctly, here at home at Strahold. We were 1 down at one stage, but by the end of the first half we were back on level terms. In the second half we scored 3 more goals and it was wonderful, amazing. The whole stadium went mad and it was just an incredible experience.
A win, but still no title to speak of. But results like that have kept the rivalry alive, and the atmosphere highly charged when Derby Day comes around. Slavia fans still relish a trip across town.
We always phone any Sparta fans we know to tell them the result and have a joke at their expense. Unfortunately, as it goes, it has been more often Sparta than ourselves who have won, and that means that their fans get to gloat more.
While Bitsan's image still remains, Slavia and the Czech Republic have embraced a culture light years away from their days under Soviet rule. But when it comes to success and grandeur, Slavia are still the city's poor relations.
Slavia have been suffering these past few years from not having their own ground like Sparta do. A lot more people go to Sparta games. And I would say the fans are more passionate than Slavia fans.
Sparta are blessed with more fans and greater financial backing. The People's Club have now replaced their rivals as the elite. And the struggle of rich against poor is yet another ingredient that ensures the very lifeblood of this rivalry.
Put simply, Sparta have been more successful than Slavia. But both clubs have the biggest fan bases in the whole of the Czech Republic. So from this point of view, the derby is widely followed. Each set of fans hopes that their team will be the more successful.
But Slavia remain confident that the glory days can return. And there's no better way to spell out their intentions than a visit to their Prague neighbours.